Hey there. Just sitting here enjoying a cup of coffee, contemplating the cosmos, or at least the hobby. And I watch a lot of YouTube, and I say that a lot, and it's because I do it a lot. And I'm really starting to notice something that's it's just being repeated so much that I don't. It goes in one ear and out the other. I don't even pay much attention to it anymore. But you know what? It's something that just kind of irritates me from time to time. It's certain buzzwords, and the hobby does have a lot of them. But one of the buzzwords that really bothers me is goats. It's the greatest of all time. I understand that. I know what that is. I know you do too. But what I hear is things like I heard a YouTuber last week say he just purchased a massive collection of cards, and it's just loaded with goats, lots of goats. And I'm thinking, here we go. And, really, can you have lots of goats? Shouldn't there just be one goat? Greatest of all time. That's singular. It's not plural. But I understand what he's talking about. He's talking about he's got a lot of stars. He's got a lot of rookies. He's got a lot of high-end, one-of-a-kind type cards, maybe. I understand that. The other word that I hear a lot that's very similar to that is grails. And grails, much along the same thing. Somebody I heard say that they're going to go hunt down some grails at the National. Okay, isn't there? Don't you just have one grail? Isn't there just one? Should be. That's also a singular, not plural thing. And truthfully, nobody was looking for that just years ago. That just entered the lexicon within the last 50 years. It's nothing that's... the only people looking for the grail was a bunch of Nazis and Indiana Jones and his dad. So it's one of those words that people use, and I understand. I know you understand it. But the constant use and reuse and use when it doesn't need to be there, and use that just out of context just weakens the word. And I think sometimes it really weakens the importance of the card. You don't realize what we're talking about when you use the grail for something just a minute ago that wasn't really a grail. Does that make sense? Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up, and by the way, I don't want to call this a rant, so I hope you don't either. One of the reasons I pick it up right now is because I'm hearing some more of these buzzwords. Hearing things like underrated, unappreciated, hobby irrelevant, unknown, forgotten, no hobby love, that sort of stuff. For players that they're in the Hall of Fame, for crying out loud, you can't be underappreciated if you're in the Hall of Fame. That's just my opinion. But I understand what they're saying. They're saying that people that paid their dues, that went out and showed off and made a star of themselves, are forgotten. And I agree that that's probably the case. I mean, when I was young, getting into baseball cards, I didn't know who King Kelly was. I didn't know who Kai Kyler was. It became a process as I was collecting cards and reading and learning and listening to other people talk. And now with the internet, you can really educate yourself. I learned, and maybe that's what we need to do. If you feel that there's players that you think are underrated or no hobby love, let's make a video of them or two, or find a lot of people, make it a series. It could be fun, but just don't show their underappreciation or their underrated status. That just kind of puts a stamp on it as saying, yeah, that's what they are. What we need to do is tell people what they did. And that would educate a lot of folks, get a lot of people fired up, start collecting more vintage cards maybe. I don't know what it'll do, but I don't really want to hear the buzzwords that are kind of clickbaity to me. And they don't inspire me to open up the YouTube channel and watch it when it's like that. So anyway, I'm going to start a little series of videos called Wait, He Did What? And we're going to start with Ralph Kiner and Johnny Mize. So let's introduce these guys. Ralph Kiner has a all-time WAR of 48.1. And by the way, I'm not sure I've said this. These are both Hall of Famers. His WAR is 48.1. He had 1,451 hits. Now, there's a reason for that. He had a late start, and we'll get into that in just a second. He had 369 home runs, 1,115 RBIs, and batted .279. Johnny Mize, his WAR, 70.6. He had 2,011 hits, 359 home runs, and he had 1,337 RBIs with an average of 312. Now, we're talking about Ralph Kiner here. You might look at those stats and go, hey, those aren't nearly as high as some other stats that I'm familiar with Hall of Famers. That's because he got a late start. He became a star later in his career, and he had some very, very big seasons and really kind of out-hit Mickey Mantle during some of those years. One of the reasons you really should pay attention to Ralph Kiner is what he did at the plate, and another thing is how long he shaped the game afterwards. He was one of the greatest power hitters of his time. He led the National League in home runs for 7 straight seasons, from 1946 to 1952. One of the most remarkable slugging streaks in MLB history. He's the first player to hit 50 home runs twice. And when he retired, his 369 career home runs ranked 6th all time. And that was in that short period of time. Second, he helped keep baseball popular and visible, even on a bad team. While playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates, he became the draw. Fans came to see him, to see whether Kiner would homer. His bat gave post-war Pittsburgh baseball, a star, an attraction to come out and watch him. And he didn't disappoint. He was one of the real true first box office sluggers. Now, all that didn't stop when Kiner stopped playing, because he became like the biggest beloved broadcaster for the New York Mets for more than 50 years, just helping connect generations of fans to the game. So his legacy is unusual. He's both a Hall of Famer slugger and a longtime baseball ambassador, I guess you could say. Now, Ralph's popularity didn't just start and stop on the diamond. He was kind of important, especially around the movie stars in Palm Springs. He hung around with guys like Frank Sinatra and Jim Garner, Bob Hope, and he dated Elizabeth Taylor and Janet Leigh. This guy was a player on the field and off. Now let's talk about Johnny Mize for a second. He won the 1939 National League batting title. He also led the league several times in home runs and RBIs during his career. And that made him one of the most complete offensive players in the late 30s and 40s. He was always ahead of his time as a slugger. In 1947, he hit 51 home runs, struck out just 42 times. Yeah, that's it. 42 times, not 42 times a month, for the entire career. It's still one of the wildest hitting accomplishments in baseball history. He remains the only player to ever hit 50-plus home runs in a season while striking out fewer than 50 times. He's one of the game's most feared hitters. He had a .312 batting average, a career 359 home runs, and a .562 slugging percentage. Those are strong numbers, and those numbers placed him in the Hall of Fame. He was also a 10-time All-Star. He also helped define winning baseball. And later in his career, he joined the Yankees and was a part of 5 straight World Series championship teams from 1949 to 1953. And here's something that I read that just kind of floored me. That Johnny was the cousin of Ty Cobb, and he was a second cousin to the second wife of Babe Ruth, Claire Merritt Hodgson Ruth. This guy was connected. I'll tell you another little interesting story about Johnny Mize. He was involved in the 1941 lawsuit against Gum Products Incorporated. Now, that's the company that manufactured a set of baseball cards called Double Play. You've seen them. Mize sued because he argued that the company didn't have his consent to use his image in the card set. We've heard that before. Gum Products Incorporated won the lawsuit, but the company stopped producing Double Play because the expenses it incurred during the legal proceedings against Johnny Mize. Well, here's Johnny Mize by the numbers. He was in the military for a while, military service from 43 to 45. That takes him out of those productive years, and he still had all these stats, even without those years. 10-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champ, 1939 NL batting champ. He was also a 3-time NL RBI leader, and he got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1981. Ralph Kiner, another Patriot, served in the military from 1944 to 45. He was a 6-time All-Star, 7-time NL home run leader, 1949 RBI leader, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1975. Let's take a look at some cards. First, we'll take a gander at Johnny Mize. Here's a 1951. It's not in great shape, but I just love that image of him as a Yankee. 1951 Bowman. Here is a 52, and before I show it to you, I need you to know, I guess I don't need you to know it, but I want you to know, it is my favorite 1952 card. This is it. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Take a look at how there's like an aura around his head and around his hand and the bats. That purplish, bluish sky. And right there behind him is the Yankee facade. He's got, I don't know, 6 bats across his shoulder. Of course, the Yankee emblem. I love that card. It is the coolest card in the world. 1952 Johnny Mize. That's my favorite. And here's the 53. Yeah, I kind of like this one too. Beautiful card. Looks like a champ to me. All right, let's take a gander at some of the Ralph Kiner cards. This is a 1954 Bowman. Oh, that's going to be full of glare. Let's just do it this way. It's 54 Bowman. He's playing for the Cubs here. And, you know, normally we talk about him playing for Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I guess. But he played for the Cubs, too. I do like this card. But the next card is my favorite Ralph Kiner card. That makes me happy when I see that. And here's the thing about this card. I've seen a lot of versions of this card that are much cleaner. The white is more white, like the border. I'm not sure why my card is so dark. I've had this card literally, and it's always looked this way, probably from the early 70s. So it's not like it's something I did. But I wonder if there's a color difference in some of the cards. Okay, just one more real quick little thing here with Ralph Kiner. I picked up this set years ago, and it's a set from the Trading Card Company. It's from 1994, so it's not that old. And it's just some photographs of him like that. That's like, looks like could be a spring training photo. This one. And then I love this one. I've seen this one before, but you can see they don't use the emblems here. They don't use the Major League emblems, although this one's, you can see the Pirates on it. But I do love that photo, and I've seen that used several times. And for some reason, the people that certify the authenticity of these cards was Paul Golden, you know, Ken Golden's dad. So there's a little certificate of authenticity there. Anyway, those are some really cool cards of two guys that I appreciate, and I don't feel they're underrated. I don't feel that they're forgotten. But if you don't know anything about these players, drop me something here in the comments and let me know if you learned anything new or if you think you're going to want to collect a few of their cards. I think it's worth the while. So what do you think? Are they underappreciated? Are they hobby irrelevant? They're still expensive cards if you go to try to pick up the rookie cards of both Johnny Mize or Ralph Kiner. They're expensive. I don't think they're undervalued. That's another word I keep hearing is undervalued. I mean, here's the deal. If you think a ball player's card is undervalued, when you go to buy it from the dealer, just tell them you add on another 20 or 30%. They'll be happy to take your money to make sure that they get the value that you think they deserve. Anyway, that is my first, wait, he did what? Here on Cardboard Meditation. I appreciate you watching. Talk soon.
Cardboard meditation helps set your mind right. Thank you for watching. Show us your appreciation by clicking the like and subscribe button. Ring the bell while you're at it so you'll know when we upload a new story.